Thank you for staying with us. Since April, seaweed has blanketed over 20 miles of the East Trinidad coastline. It started off with a few clumps of seaweed washing ashore along the Mayaro coastline that later transformed into large mats of seaweed. It had also disrupted the turtle nesting season. Fishermen have been complaining as they can't pull in their seine as they end up with seaweed instead of fish. Even though the fishermen and even sea bathers have classed the seaweed as a nuisance, others have found a practical way to utilize it while there's so much of it on the coastline. Mayaro has more.
For almost a month, this seaweed has been washing up along the shoreline of Manzanilla and as far back as Guayagari. But the Manatee Conservation Trust and the Zoological Society of Trinidad and Tobago have used this as fertilizer. Nadra Nathai Jian, the first vice president of the Manatee Conservation Trust, explains how the seaweed acts as a fertilizer.
And what this seaweed actually does, it can be used as a mulch. So what they are actually doing is they are mulching around the base of the trees. And for many, you would realize mulching is so important, especially this very hot weather, because what it does is it keeps the water content in the soil, and so it's soil conservation.
She says the seaweed is also known to have trace minerals, which means that there are components in the seaweed that enrich the soil, and she refers to it as Mother Nature's best form of fertilizer. They've started to place the seaweed around the coconut trees at the Manzanilla estate and have piled up the rest for other trees outside the estate.
So it fertilizes the soil. So we are getting dual sort of benefits, well, triple benefits, because we are cleaning the beach and making it free for the nesting turtles and the hatchlings, and then we are also helping with the soil enrichment and conservation on the estate itself.
The Zoological Society and the Trust are also trying their best to remove as much seaweed as possible so that the leatherback turtles will not have difficulty laying their eggs, and in turn their hatchlings will be able to leave the beach freely without getting caught in the seaweed.
So we have been removing it both mechanically and manually so that we can have a clean nesting habitat for the turtles.
Ms. Nathai Jian says the seaweed is in no way harmful to human beings, but many prefer not to visit beaches with so much seaweed because of the smell it gives off when it decomposes. She said more help will be needed if they are to clean up this large amount of seaweed. The two groups are encouraging private and public organizations to assist them in clearing the path for the turtle hatchlings. Mahalia Joseph, C News.